I am struck by this legislation. The pandemic is not over.
Pandemic is over.
Black History Month you find ridiculous.
Part of his choices, to be fair, he made choices that led to that.
We won with the highest percentage of the vote.
Happy Black History Month to you and yours. Also, Congress voted to end the COVID emergency pandemic at the federal level, in case you didn't know that wasn't already a thing. Novak Jobob gets the last laugh after not taking the vax and then dominating the tennis world. And what else is there? Oh, yeah, Bernie Sanders is going on tour, and it's going to cost you a hefty penny to go see him. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Joel. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually their name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is February 1st, the year of our Lord 2023. Thanks for joining us. Got a lot going on. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend. Wasn't here yesterday. It was supposed to be, but, things happen and, I don't know, just the world continues spinning. But yesterday, well, you know what? I want to start with this because I think this is probably one of the more formidable clips that I've seen. Formidable in the sense as it formed my thinking on things. Okay, let me get this out here. I didn't understand Black History Month in elementary school. I think I remember first learning about it. Oh, we're learning about Martin Luther King starting now, but only for 28 days or 29 days, but for some reason. And then I guess it's not a part of American history anymore. I never understood it. Also, being a Samoan person in school, I was looked around. If you do a history month for one race, shouldn't you do it for all of it? Where's Samoan History Month? And then I came to realize, yeah, this is stupid. All of it's dumb. History is history, whether you want to separate it by race or not, which seems weird. And I remember watching this clip that I enjoy playing each and every February 1st, the beginning of Black History Month. By the way, I think I buried the lead here. Today is the first day of Black History Month, which is dumb, in my opinion, and in the opinion of several other prominent people, American citizens, actors, entertainers, whatever it is you want to call them. Anyways, I want to watch this clip, get this out of the way, and then we'll talk about the COVID emergency ending at the congressional level, not necessarily the Senate level yet. But watch this. This is, again, one of my favorite clips of all time. If you haven't already, would appreciate you clicking the little like button and the little share button down here. Really appreciate you doing so. Let us know in the comment section what you think of Black History Month if you feel so brave. Check it out. Watch this.
Black History Month you find ridiculous. Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
All right. I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Amen to that. If you don't agree with that sort of sentiment, I would love to have a longer conversation about it because that's the way I've seen the world for a very, very long time. I remember watching that 60 Minutes clip, must have been over a decade ago, and going, oh my gosh, somebody else with a prominent public figure voice thinks the same thing that I think. And it was, I don't know, really interesting. So yeah, just treat Americans as Americans. They can disagree with you and you can dislike them based on their thoughts and ideas. That's totally fine. Other than that, yeah, we're all just people. And some people, I don't know, people across the entire spectrum of humanity look different, whether it's facial structure, skin color, hair color, it doesn't matter. Everybody's a person. Thank you, Morgan Freeman, for taking that bold stand a long time ago. I feel like that clip would be laughed out of a lot of college universities as today's woke left has kind of taken over. Edward says, Morgan the GOAT. Yep. And well, there's a lot more. Lots more love Morgan Freeman comments coming in. So, yeah, we'll leave that there. Okay, so yesterday was a big day regarding COVID, but also kind of just this weird, like, tumultuous kind of hullabaloo of stuff. So the Biden administration has an executive COVID emergency that was instituted by Donald Trump around this time in 2020. Yes, 20. It's been about 3 years since the COVID emergency has been a thing at the federal level. The Biden administration, this is all within the last couple days, said, all right, we're going to end the emergency sometime in May, which I've never understood. I don't know why people don't talk about this more, but I've never understood the idea of, one, this is an emergency and we're going to institute policies in a week. I've never understood that. That happened a lot during COVID. This is such an emergency. You're going to have to start wearing masks indoors starting on Thursday next week. Like, okay, if it's that much of an emergency, why are we delaying anything? But that just never made sense to me. And then also ending the COVID emergency. Joe Biden says, COVID is over. Remember his 60 Minutes piece? Well, we have that clip that we'll play in just a few seconds of him late last year, middle-ish of last year, saying the COVID pandemic is over. Okay, well, the emergency still exists at the federal executive level. Having said that, Congress, the House of Representatives, which is controlled by Republicans, brought to the floor yesterday a vote to say, hey, we're going to make them end it. Rather than Joe Biden saying, well, in May, we're going to end this, the House of Representatives is saying, no, you're going to end it now. And they voted on that yesterday, and they voted on another bill yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it early this morning? I can never tell because of the time change, and DC is 3 hours ahead and all that sort of stuff. But they voted on two big bills. One was to end the emergency at the federal level, and two, to stop the vaccine mandates for federal workers. Then Joe Biden came out in the midst of all of this, talking to reporters, and said this, which is probably, if you're watching this, kind of confusing on the chyron, saying SCOTUS gets to end COVID ? Yeah, Joe Biden. This is a very, very short clip, and it's really hard to hear. So we'll explain at the end, and then piggyback right on that is him saying COVID is over. I believe with Scott Pelley on 60 Minutes a couple months ago. Anyways, watch this very short clip, and we will kind of continue the conversation on the other side of all of the things that are happening. Check it out.
Emergency will end when the Supreme Court ends it.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over.
Okay, so that was very, very quick. Joe Biden out in front of Marine One yesterday saying COVID will end when SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, says it's over, which is a whole different wrinkle that I don't think anybody was really thinking about. But wait, hold on. We've got the executive branch and we've got Congress, and now the judiciary is getting involved. How does this make any sense? I think what he was alluding to is a bunch of people saying, well, your powers that you continue to hold are unconstitutional, and the Supreme Court will eventually come in and say, hey, these are unconstitutional. Maybe that's what he was alluding to, but again, bypassing the entire vote in the Legislative House of Representatives to end the COVID emergency. Okay, so all of that's happening yesterday. This is what I thought the most fascinating thing about this was. Let me bring this up. I believe this is from Politico. I tell myself every single day when we're putting this stuff together, put where you're getting your articles from. I'm pretty sure this is Politico. But check this out. The House voted on Tuesday to end the COVID-19 public emergency, despite President Joe Biden's announcement on Monday that his administration would be ending the COVID emergency along with separate COVID national emergencies in May. Okay. So the most interesting thing about this to me is how people voted. This is going to blow your mind here. There are, I think, several moderate Democrats in the House of Representatives, as there are several moderate Republicans in the House of Representatives. There's 435 members. They're going to be moderates in that bunch. And I would say, if I were checking the pulse of America, the most moderate, well, not even the most moderate, even the leftiest of lefty friends that I have. I have friends, believe it or not, that are full-blown socialists, right? Even they are saying, all right, this thing is over. This is absolutely done, absolutely over. The furthest left person in Congress is not far left enough for this. I'm thinking of one particular friend of mine. This particular friend, there's not a candidate lefty enough for him. And he says, what are we talking about with this whole COVID thing still being a thing? Despite that, despite a bunch of people on the left side of the aisle saying that COVID is over, this vote to end the COVID emergency still was a party lines vote, meaning that 210 Democrats voted to continue the emergency until Joe Biden's dictated end date in May. That's what blows my mind. The reasoning for it is, well, I'll play the reasoning. This is Sheila Jackson, Congresswoman from Texas, speaking out against, I don't remember which of these bills that she was speaking out against. I can't remember if it was the vaccine mandate. Actually, I think this was the vaccine mandate for federal workers, which there was some crossover. I think that vote was like 224 to like 203, meaning that like 7 Democrats either voted in the affirmative to, hey, let's get rid of the federal vax mandate, or voted present, which is, I'm going to refrain from going off on the voting present tangent, but anyways, bottom line is the vast majority of Democrats voted against what I think the overwhelming majority of Americans, Republican, Independent, Democrat, all of them say COVID is over, yet still all of the Democrats said, no, it's not. So listen to this. Watch this. This is Sheila Jackson giving her reasoning as to why voting in the affirmative of any of these bills is just terrible. Check this out. Also, if you haven't already, would appreciate you clicking the like button down here and the little share button. Really appreciate you keeping the ball rolling continually each and every day. Except if I'm traveling for some reason, because that's apparently I don't do shows when I'm traveling. I used to do them, and I was very good at them, and now I'm not anymore. Anyways, click the little like button and the little share button. Let us know in the comment section what you think. Why are so many Democrats voting to continue the emergency despite the will of the people, in my opinion? Check this out. Sheila Jackson, Texas.
On this vote, the yeas are 227, and the
okay, sorry, this is them counting the votes.
nays are 203. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Okay, so that was the vax mandate thing. That's passed. Okay, now here's Sheila Jackson.
And so I am struck by this legislation. The pandemic is not over. 500 people a day die right now as I'm standing here from COVID. That's a reasonable amount. I know there are other infectious diseases, but doesn't it make sense that if we can have a vaccine and a protocol that allows people to live, our children, those with pre-existing conditions, that we want them to do so?
So there is that. Clint says, control. It's always about control. Faye says it's also about control. Lisa says it's about control. I think that's the predominant understanding. It seems to be about having more control and more power. This is a longer conversation and we won't delve into it right now, but same kind of mentality in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum. I was there, 2 weeks ago now? And yes, I think it is about control, but I think the want and need for control is derived from something else. And maybe we'll do like a long form podcast on that at some point. But I do think that, yes, it is a control component, but that control is a derivative of misguided purpose, which is, again, a much deeper and more in-depth conversation that we can have maybe at a later time. But anyways, bottom line here, top of the story is I think that it's a mistake for Democrats, especially moderate Democrats, to continue voting across party lines, even though everybody agrees, Republican, Democrat, Independent, minus that like 10% of wackos out there, that COVID is over. So there's that. Where do we go from here? Okay, let's get into, well, let's stay with the whole COVID thing for a second. Yeah, we will. All right, Novak Djokovic, appropriately nicknamed Novax. If you remember this story from, a year ago, Novak Djokovic is the #1 tennis player in the world. Very, very good at tennis. Remember last year, actually it was a year ago like now, he was deported from Australia and over the weekend won the Australian Open. One of the witty headlines, I think ESPN says, Jovic comes out on top, down under. That was, I don't know, funny, good wordplay there. Anyways, he was deported last year for this event because he did not get the COVID-19 shot. Because he is a world-class athlete, and statistically, even if he got the worst case of COVID, he would have been fine. And turns out that was all true. But anyways, there was some commentary when he won. He went in the stands, was celebrating with family and friends and all that sort of stuff. And there was some commentary on the broadcast that I thought was hilarious. Now, you're going to hear two voices on this. One is John McEnroe, who I don't know John McEnroe's political leanings, but given his temperament on and off the court, I can imagine he is a no BS, let me do my thing type of person. Again, I have no bearing on what he thinks politically, but just judging from the compilation of John McEnroe yelling at the judges clips, I would imagine that he's very much into I'm going to do whatever the heck I want territory. Listen to this commentary back and forth on the broadcast after Novak won the Australian Open, and we'll discuss on this side. It's pretty fascinating. Check this out.
He got defaulted in the Open when he hit the linesman mistake. Yeah. He gets deported out of Australia, doesn't get any points at Wimbledon, can't play the Open.
His choices, to be fair, he made choices that led to that. Some of those things.
I think he should have been permitted to play.
Okay, well that's a debate, yes. But he did make choices that led to that.
That's I don't know, kind of interesting. I was trying to pull up who that was specifically. I think it was Chris Fowler. John McEnroe and Chris Fowler got into an argument. This is Clay Travis tweeting, and into an argument about the COVID shot live on ESPN as Novak Djokovic has celebrated his Australian Open win. Bottom line is John McEnroe is listing off all of the bad things. This is a comeback, not come from behind necessarily, but comeback kind of win for Novak Djokovic because he was ostracized from the world of tennis and banned from playing in all of the big tournaments for a long time. McEnroe is basically saying, hey, he was deported from Australia. He wasn't allowed to play at Wimbledon. He wasn't allowed to do this and that. And then Chris Fowler says, well, he did make choices that led to that sort of thing, which is the sort of crap that you would hear from a person who is not aware that none of this would have helped anybody else aside from the control freaks that wanted to make sure everybody did exactly what they wanted them to do. I was going through, this is kind of off topic, but I thought it was kind of fascinating. I was going through some of the, just some old screenshots that I had on my phone of different people saying different things at different times. And in 2021, Gavin Newsom, the dictator of California, said something along the lines of, not getting the COVID shot is like drunk driving. You're not allowed to put other people at risk, which again turned out to be entirely false. And pretty obviously he knew it at the time, but somebody who apparently the news hasn't reached their ears yet is spouting their mouth off on ESPN saying, well, he did make choices, and that choice was to not comply with the dictator overlords. And I just want to really quickly play this clip from one of Novak's interviews with the BBC at the time, not getting the shot. And I just the mindset of these media people who kind of comment on this is fascinating. Check this out.
To most of the tournaments at the moment,
and that's the price you're willing to pay.
That is the price that I'm willing to pay.
Ultimately, are you prepared to forego the chance to be the greatest player that ever picked up a racket, statistically, because you feel so strongly about this jab?
Yes. I do.
But as things stand, if this means that you miss the French Open, is that a price you'd be willing to pay?
Yes, that is the price that I'm willing to pay.
And if it means that you miss Wimbledon this year, again, that's a price you're willing to pay?
Yes.
Why, Novak? Why? Why?
Because the principles of decision-making on my body are more important than any title.
That's my favorite part right there. Let me see if I can scroll back to it. Just the impassionate why. Why are you willing to do this? With no regard to any of the other main dominant human nature themes going on here. Talking about a person on an individual level who is, in his mind, but also legitimately standing up for the rights of people to have dominion over their own bodies / medication / fitness, all of that sort of stuff. Notwithstanding, this guy saying, why? Why would you do that, Novak? Again, completely ignoring human nature and people who want control, seeking that control, and then dominating the world. Just playing right into that. This dude not having any,
Why?
Because the principles of...
Yeah, dude. Screw that guy. Anyways, Novak got the last laugh here. Oh man, we got to move here. All right, so sorry, put a pin in that, and we'll go to this because this is a big thing in the conservative talking circles. Trump is taking more swipes at Ron DeSantis. So yesterday, I didn't get the clip for it because I don't think it was a good shot. So yesterday, Donald Trump on Truth Social posted a video like from several years back. Now, okay, think about of Ron DeSantis. Now, think in your mind what that could have been. Something very, very damaging to Ron DeSantis. Usually when people start off a story of a video from several years back, it's him, I don't know, doing blow in a bathroom stall with hookers. Like, oh no! That's what at least I think. When I read the caption of Donald Trump shares old video of Ron DeSantis, like, oh boy, like what is this gonna be? Turns out the video was Ron DeSantis saying, I think I can, be a political figure. I can be a Paul Ryan, for instance. And this is back in like 2016, maybe 2014. I don't know. But that was it. That was like the big jab. Like, oh, got him there. Ron DeSantis said that he could be like the most powerful person in the Republican Party for a time. Because remember, Paul Ryan was the Speaker of the House from 2015 to 2019, third in line to the presidency. Saying at the time he could be kind of like a Paul Ryan is if you're the type of person that is upset about that sort of thing and that really got you, and you're like, yeah, see Trump, look, Ron DeSantis says he would be like the third most powerful person in the country for 4 years. If that's like the sort of thing that just really riles you up, I don't know. I guess that's going to be interesting. But nevertheless, Ron DeSantis, I didn't get the video clip because it doesn't actually matter, but that's what happened. Donald Trump said, look, Ron DeSantis says he's like Paul Ryan. Okay. I don't understand the absolute hatred for Paul Ryan. There are plenty of things that I disagree with Paul Ryan, as are many things that I disagree with Kevin McCarthy and all of the other big wigs in the Republican Party. But at the same time, I would imagine that we would vote the same way on 95% to 98 to 99% of the things. So one, I don't understand the disdain for Paul Ryan. If you'd like to educate me as to why I should hate that man so much, let me know in the comment section. But didn't seem like a really deep stab by Donald Trump. Yet a lot of your hard writers were like, oh, look at this. Anyways, all that being said, Ron DeSantis gets asked questions about Donald Trump taking stabs at him. And dude, DeSantis is good at this. Like, again, not getting into this whole debate, Trump or DeSantis, or Nikki Haley now. Nikki Haley got in, former governor of South Carolina and former ambassador to the UN. She's now in the race for president. Supposedly called Donald Trump for his blessing to compete with him, and which is, I don't know, this is all just weird. Anyways, not to get into this whole debate of Ron DeSantis versus Donald Trump, but one of the dudes is taking swipes and the other dude is playing him off. I wanted to play this clip from Ron DeSantis being asked about Trump, and without pantsing the former president, because he knows that would be bad, he touted himself and compared himself without. He's very, very good at this sort of thing. Check this out. Watch this, and we'll discuss on the other side. Oh, by the way, click the little like button and the little share button, unless you're mad at me. Then click the little angry button, unless you're a type of person that's very mad that I'm not super pro-Trump or super pro-DeSantis at this point in time, 2 freaking years away from the election. Then click the little angry button down here. But anyways, really, really does help us out, and we appreciate you doing so. Now, there's also more people watching now than have clicked the little like button. So anyways, watch this from DeSantis smacking these questions. Check it out.
Well, look, what I would just say is this. I roll out of bed. I have people attacking me from all angles. It's been happening for many, many years. And if you look at the good thing about it, though, is like if you take a crisis situation like COVID, you know, the good thing about it is when you're an elected executive, you have to make all kinds of decisions. You got to steer that ship. And the good thing is that the people are able to render a judgment on that, whether they reelect you or not. And I'm happy to say, you know, in my case, not only did we win reelection, we won with the highest percentage of the vote that any Republican governor candidate has in the history of the state of Florida.
Yeah, so without specifically attacking Trump, he basically said, you know, the voters get to decide whether or not you're doing a good job, and said, look, we dominated Florida, Republicans did. And also the attitude with a lot of conservatives is a lot of Trump's candidates lost, including the big Senate races. So there's that. Again, whether this is going to be a big part of this debate going forward of DeSantis or Trump. DeSantis is very, very good at this sort of stuff, verbally speaking. Trump is also pretty good, but I don't know, man. In terms of electability, it's going to come down to voters trying to pick who can win a general election. And as of right now, if I were a betting man, I would probably bet on the Florida governor. But again, we'll see how all of this shakes out. Don't forget, the presidential election is in just under 2 freaking years. So there's that. All right, I want to go to this because this I think is hilarious. Don't have a video for this, but Bernie Sanders is hitting the road. Bernie Sanders is going on a speaking. Is it a speaking tour, technically? I'm not entirely sure. I think it's just a couple events. But check this out. Bernie Sanders, the socialist Democrat senator from Vermont, is putting on a show at, where is it? In Washington, D.C., at some big theater on Friday. Tickets go on sale on Friday. Holy cow, the show is March 1st. At 6:30, which is a Wednesday night. I only know that because now we'll talk about that later. It's at the Anthem Theater, and the show is called Senator Bernie Sanders, It's Okay to Be Angry About Capitalism. And the reason I bring this up is because the show entitled It's Okay to Be Angry About Capitalism, and to go for the privilege of going and getting screamed at by Senator Sanders about how bad capitalism is, tickets are $95. Up to $95. Tickets are ranging from $35 to $95. They go on sale Friday. I'm going to try and buy a ticket. Actually, you know what? You know what? Actually, hold on. What am I doing? What day is that? That's March 1st. Shoot, I can't go, but maybe somebody else I know should go. Anyways, yeah, Bernie Sanders is charging people $95 up to complain about the evils of capitalism, which just the irony is a lot. So go ahead and use your iPhone to book a $95 ticket and then drive your car or take public transportation, all of the things generated by capitalism or free markets, let's just say free markets, and go get yelled at why socialism is better. You buy all fly, says Brian. I'm not sure what that means, but I wish I could go. I am busy that day. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we can make an announcement or something like that. But the reason I'm busy that day is because I will be on the TPUSA, Turning Point USA Live Free Tour with none other than Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. On that day, we will be in Santa Barbara, California. The first Live Free event of the year will feature myself and either Charlie Kirk or Candace Owens, which is fascinating, and it blows my mind that I'm able to they trust me to do this sort of stuff. And I'm forever grateful to Charlie and the team over there at Turning Point. But that's why I won't be able to attend Bernie Sanders' anti-capitalism $95 event. But regardless, I think they're going to have a great time there, and we are also going to have a great time in Santa Barbara, as well as the many other stops throughout the month of March. So yeah, I guess if you feel so inclined, Turning Point USA, so tpusa.com/livefree. You can see all of the dates. I will be at all of them. I'm not sure who's going to what in terms of our main speaker, but it's Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens at the Live Free Tour, tpusa.com/livefree. You can come say hi to me. I'll be there at each and every one of those events. There's 8 of them in March, and you can go book some tickets and say hello. So anyways, that'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. A lot of let's see, a lot of interesting comments here that are kind of funny that I don't know. We'll go with this. Mike says, truly enjoy your shows. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Hey, if you're in any of the areas that we'll be stopping at the Live Free Tour, would love to meet you and say hi, as well as any of you that are wanting to do so and live within the proximity of the areas that we'll be in. If you haven't already, would appreciate a follow on any of the social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB pretty much everywhere. I believe we're going to start streaming on Rumble either later this week or early next week. So that'll be a thing too. Kind of expanding here as we go. And I appreciate all of you that have been in support of kind of chugging this thing along. Again, if you haven't already, click the little like button and the little share button. Really, really does help us out. And that'll do it. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here. God bless America.